The Blood of the Dead ending cutscene was probably the best ending cutscene that we've ever got for any zombies map, or really almost anything, at least for me, ever, because it is just so good. It's such a good arc for Richtofen. It's something that we really thought we'd never see Richtofen do, sacrificing himself for his friends and just things like that. That wasn't something we expected out of Richtofen, but we saw him grow and actually reach that point, even if he did regret doing it seconds after he actually went ahead and did it. It didn't really matter. In fact, it made it all that much better. That, I mean, this is so out of character for him, and then he realizes that and he starts freaking out and just does not actually want to die, and just it really adds so much more to the ending cutscene. But the problem is, this cutscene is not perfect, but it was so close to being perfect. It was just that far off, and I want to explain what I mean by that, because this ending cutscene, again, like I said, has probably been one of the best, if not the best cutscenes in all of zombies. Like, it's period, point blank. But the thing is that what really kills me in all of this cutscene, the first thing I noticed, and really the reason why I never released my reaction to this ending cutscene, was because I was actually showed a lot of annoyance with certain characters, and those were Takeo and Dempsey. It really made no sense to me that Takeo and Dempsey had almost no part in this ending cutscene. All they did was say the souls are freed, and then you have Dempsey saying, "Did we win?" and "Ain't that swell?" and all that stuff, and it really wasn't anything to Richtofen, even though they knew he was dying, or at least we were pretty sure they knew he was dying, but they did nothing. They had no response to that, and that was just confusing to watch at the very least, because you have to remember when all of this is taking place. This is taking place right after Zetsubo no Shima, so our characters had already gone through the Reisendrache and Zetsubo no Shima, and of course in those maps were huge character growth and relationship growth between Richtofen and Dempsey, and also Richtofen and Takeo. Just think about what happened in the ending cutscene to the Reisendrache. We saw something that we never thought we would see out of Richtofen in that cutscene either. I mean, he had the other characters in suspense using the summoning key and was just going to go kill off the 1.0 version of Dempsey, but he didn't just keep them in suspense. He actually let Dempsey go ahead and kill the different version, or the 1.0 version of himself by himself. He didn't just force him to watch while he did it, and this was huge because this meant that he somehow gained this trust for Dempsey, so that he would thought that he would actually kill the other version of himself without just trying to turn on him or something like that. And then also there's just, I mean, when you see Richtofen just looking at I guess the sadness in Dempsey, just pats his shoulder, comforts him like the best way you'd ever imagine Richtofen trying to comfort him, was just insane to see out of Richtofen. And then also in Zetsubo no Shima, where you actually have Richtofen showing Takeo how flawed his way of thinking is, and believing so much in the Emperor that it was just a huge moment for Richtofen to open the eyes of Takeo, which at that point would really build a good relationship between these characters. But none of this was reflected in this ending cutscene, and it makes even less sense when you listen to the quotes inside the map, especially a conversation between Nikolai and Dempsey, where Nikolai is kind of hinting at that they might have to be killing Richtofen, and before he can even finish at what he's saying, Dempsey just shuts him down and says, "Heck no, dude, that is bad karma," and doesn't want any part of it. But then at the end, what actually is there? I know there's a couple things post cutscene that it says we need to get him out of there, just by, of course, "What are you doing, Richtofen?" and all that stuff, but I mean, it never was reflected in the cutscene itself, and it really killed me to see that, and I just don't understand why that was the case. Why didn't Dempsey and Takeo try to save this version of Richtofen after they built such a relationship with them? It just doesn't make any sense to me at all. After everything you went through with this guy, you just didn't even say anything to him. You just let him die. And it did not make any sense at all, and that was probably my biggest problem with it, that it really hurt the Dempsey and Takio characters because it just didn't make sense after everything they just went through and everything that just took place in the map. It just doesn't make any sense at all, especially if they know that he sacrificed himself so they could escape. At least they could give him a thank you or something like that, but instead they do nothing, and I just don't understand why that was the case.
I wanted to keep going. This means my slightest heart.